Welcome everybody to another video of Dead by Daylight. My name is Cubeproductions. Today we'll be talking about what I think is literally the best new score merchant rework they should do. I have made terrible paint pictures to literally discuss exactly what's going to be happening and how everything works. And of course we'll be talking about changes to add-ons as well as we go through the video. If you love the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoy, or make sure you leave your comments and let me know how you think of the rework. Make sure you also join the Discord server, link in the description if you want to join and be part of the community. So first things first, let's talk about drones 2.0 and how stealth drones work and different things like that. As you can see, I'll be cutting between the terrible paint image I made, and also I'll be talking about what they want to do when it comes to the actual game. So the devs want to make drones basically be a little bit less visually annoying and give her 5 stealth drones that eventually will be able to detect survivors in an area if they are caught between the scan lines, the detection lines. But that is not actually how I want the drones to work. Let me cut and show y'all how I want the drones to work. Okay, instead of showing gameplay that literally wouldn't even like match the idea of what I'm trying to say, I decided to just make literally 7 different paint pictures and discuss how I think Scrum Merchant Rework should work and how I really think the best way to use her, and not really use her, the best way to change her to make her more fun on both sides. Because this rework I have planned is literally going to make it so that she's more fun to play against, but also gives her counterplay and also changes a few things. So first things first, as you can see, we have different dots, like different things on the screen. Blue circles indicate survivors. The green circle indicates a generator. The blue rectangle indicates a window. The red rectangle indicates a upright pallet. And then the brown circle indicates a drone. This is really important because as you'll see in a few seconds, I'm going to place a giant yellow circle. Now notice how some of these blue circles have arrows pointing on them. This is indicating that a survivor is moving. Just like how Behavior just said with Drones 2.0, they want to make it so that way if a survivor hits the detection lines / is moving and gets hit by the detection lines, their aura will be shown. But that's not actually how I want it to work. This is how it should work in my opinion. In my opinion, the second you place down a drone, a giant area is scanned. This area is scanned, and this scan goes through walls, by the way, and has no height, and it has has no height. Well, no, it has infinite height. There we go. But it also goes through walls, just like this. Just as you can see by the yellow circle. When this happens, any survivor who is moving, including if it's not through the scan lines, will be revealed on the radar. Now, they got rid of the hinder, the haste, all that stuff, and all that stuff is also not going to be in here, kind of. So just because you're on the radar doesn't mean the Scarborough gets haste or can injure you with her claw traps or whatever, or her drones. No. It just literally means she can see where you are. So the whole point is you want to be able to not be seen. As you can see right here, this guy is not moving, which means, say, for example, he was behind a rock the entire time. Scrum Merchant had no way to know he was there because she didn't hear him, and he didn't appear on the radar either because he wasn't moving. But these two survivors, however, were moving, as you can see by the arrows, and because of this reason, if you look at her radar, she would be able to actually see them. Again, she wouldn't get a haste buff or anything weird like that. She would just be able to see them on the radar. This, because of her power, is supposed to be surveillance, and she can see exactly where survivors are based on certain actions. This makes it that way survivors will actually be able to dodge her, but also be able to realize that, oh wait, if I hear the sound cue, that means that I should probably stop moving, so you should know where I am. Also, just like how Scrum Merchant is now, when she places the drone, she will become untouchable for 8 seconds, and the drone cooldown is indeed still 10 seconds. But I'll talk about that more when we go to the next slide. So next, as you can see, we're going to see this giant yellow and giant purple area. So before we start, let me first write down a little one thing right here so you understand what's happening. So if you look, you'll see I'm going to put the number 1 right here to indicate that red dot is Scrum Merchant placing down a drone, and the drone, of course, is the brown circle. When Scrum Merchant places down her drone, it will immediately, like I told you, emit that yellow area. As you can see, one survivor is actually on a chest, and another survivor is moving behind the wall. Because the survivor on the chest is technically not moving, he will not be located by the drone. So I pretend like there's a wall right here. As you can see, I just drew a wall. Pretend like there's a wall right there. Scrum Merchant had no way to know the guy was right there at all. She didn't hear him open the chest, she didn't see him open the chest, and she didn't see him on the radar, so she didn't know. But she did, however, see the guy right there. So what did she do? She tried to go chase him, but the guy has a window right next to him, and he was really, really annoying. So because of that reason, he's going to continuously try to loop around that window. And knowing this, Score Merchant's like, I don't want to chase that. As you can see, I'm going to draw a little line where he's going to basically continually go across the window. So because of this reason, Score Merchant's like, I don't feel like chasing that because that's a little annoying. So instead, Score Merchant's like, I'm going to go to the second position. So if you go to the number 2 right there, you see another red dot. That is Scrum Merchant being at her second position. The reason why I put this here is because of the next part on the list of changes they want to do for Scrum Merchant. If you look at the list of changes, they say drone control, and they want basically Scrum Merchant to be far away from the drone and then be able to use said drone to be able to hunt down survivors. Now, they want Scrum Merchant to basically ram the drone into survivors like a flying time bomb, and if it misses, then that means that, okay, the drone is destroyed, but if it hits, that means that they get a successful hit state. While this is not really a bad idea, like I said before, it does go completely against her whole gameplay as a trap killer, which is why my design is way better, and I will explain why it's better in a minute. So we're gonna keep the thing. We don't want Smart Merchant to place on a drone and then immediately be able to use a drone inside of a loop, inside of a chase, and be able to do what I want her to do with the drone. This is really important because, like I said, what she's gonna do in my design will make her a trap killer, but also be good in chases and incentivize her using her drones to chase survivors, compared to just using her drones as a random, just okay, I have power to now shoot a homing bomb at somebody. So let's explain what I want to do. What I want to do is very simple. I want Storm Merchant to be able to basically move her drones wherever she wants inside of the giant purple circle. So as you can see, the yellow circle is the area that scans survivors who are moving when they are 16. Let's assume it's 16 meters, 16 meters or 12 meters near the drone. Let's do 12 meters because her radius is 24 meters. Again, these numbers I'm mentioning are just random numbers I'm coming in my head. They're not really official. I'm just saying this is what they should do. So to put it on a drone, any survivors 12 meters near the drone have their location revealed if they're moving, as you can see by the yellow circle. But then we have a 48 meter, yes, I said 48 meters, 48 meter, maybe 36 should be good enough. Let's do 48 meters for now, or 40 meters. We have a 48 meter purple circle. As long as Skull Merchant is a good enough distance away from the actual drone itself that she wants to target, she can then take control of it. Then you can see by the brown lines I'm making, she can control the drone and move it anywhere she wants in this circle. However, if she moves it towards the pallet and the survivor decides that they want to, not deal with that, they can drop the pallet on the drone. If a survivor drops the pallet on a drone, the drone immediately gets destroyed and the pallet also gets destroyed, and then you return back control to Scrum Merchant. However, you can use your drone and fly through windows. Again, the windows are highlighted by the rectangles, the purple rectangles, and you can use it to target other survivors. Now, again, I haven't explained yet how we hurt survivors with drones yet, but I'll explain when we get to the slide 5. Well, to paint 5. Basically, we're able to move the drone anywhere we want inside this giant area. However, if we move the drone outside of the area, what happens? We get a noise, and you cannot move it out that area. Instead, you need to either place a new drone or do something else that I'll talk about in the next slide or next area. But of course, you can move the drone wherever you want to. The drone basically acts like a smaller version of Scar Merchant. It's flying around inside of the area. I don't know yet if I'm gonna do a power consumption. I'm pretty sure I don't want to do a power consumption because, in my opinion, the way it should work is like this: you use the drone. If you use the drone and you want to go anywhere you want, you can go anywhere you want in that circle. Survivors can see the circle that you can go in. All they have to do is get out of the circle, and that's how they win. But again, you can't use it and chase insanely fast like that. So it's not just throw a drone on a loop. It is use your drones tactically to catch up on survivors and sneak up on them. That's how you're supposed to use these. In the next slide, you can see this giant mess I made. Let me explain what this is. So imagine this is a random Score Merchant using her drone somewhere. The drone obviously is in the right, as you can see by the brown dot. If you look and follow the line, the drone immediately scanned these 2 survivors. This survivor on the top, he's not moving. So because of that reason, he is not being scanned. However, the survivor at the bottom, you can barely see it, but there is a arrow pointing left. That means he's technically moving and he is in range of the drone. As a result, he decided he wants to run away from the drone because he knows the drone is going to target him and try and hurt him eventually. So he runs to this exact position right here. Knowing this, Scorpion is like, and decides to use her drone to follow him. So she uses her drone and moves it around like that, and she realizes he wants to get right here. So because of that reason, he sees the drone coming and he moves away, and now he's at this circle, as you can see right here. I made it in advance so you know where he's gonna go. So he goes all the way over there and he starts to work on the generator because he's like, I'm not going towards that. So Merchant sees this and she's like, I'm gonna follow him, but again, remember you can't go outside of the 48-meter circle. So because of that reason, she has to park her drone right there. When the drone is parked at that moment, she can either get out of it or she can decide to continue, moving around in this giant purple area. Either way, Skull Merchant decided she wants to get out the drone. When the drone is being decommissioned, no longer being used by Skull Merchant, it will do the same thing it does when she first places it, emitting a giant yellow area, and anyone moving in the area will be scanned. If no one's scanned, the drone is disabled for about like 6 seconds. Let's do 6 seconds. The reason why the drone is disabled is for this reason. Basically, once you move your drone from point A to point B, you're allowed to now keep the drone at point B. Because the drone is at point B, it can now be moved in from point B to anywhere in the 48-meter range from point B to wherever you want to go. So basically, what this means is Skull Merchant has the ability to place down traps and then move those traps from to different locations, but again, she only gets 5. The reason why I wanted this to be her power is because, in my opinion, this is exactly how her power should work and how exactly how, like her lore is. She basically controls her drones and moves them around places to scan survivors. So you move it around, you scan survivors. If you scan the survivor, once you have moved it from point A to point B, your drone does not deactivate. You have the option to stop using it, and then it will deactivate for 6 seconds or however long, 10 seconds. But if you scan the survivor once you were done with it, it won't actually deactivate and you can use it again. The reason why I have it deactivate though is because of the fact that, in my opinion, if it didn't deactivate, you could just use it forever, and then the survivors would never be able to, hack the drone. And the survivors obviously need an ability to counter the power, so that's how it should work. So basically, the gist of it is you move from point A to point B. Once you're done moving it, you press the button to get out the drone. When that happens, the drone will do one final scan. If it scanned anybody, you have the option to continue being in the drone and move it again in another 48-degree area, or you have the option to let go of it. Survivors, of course, get an audio cue whenever you place down a drone, if they're near it. That way they know not to move. And survivors obviously get an audio cue once you move from point A to point B, and if they're in the 16 or 12 meter, whatever range it is, of the drone, it will again send an audio cue out, and if the survivor's in it, they should not move, and if they don't move, then that means that the drone will be disabled for 10 seconds. This gives survivors enough time to be able to actually go in, disable the drone. When a drone is disabled, it will then only emit the 2 yellow lines that the drone normally emits. If a survivor runs into one of those yellow lines, then what ends up happening is, and those lines, by the way, actually do care about what's it called, line of sight. They can't go through walls. If a survivor runs into one of those drones, then what ends up happening is the killer gets notified by the killer instinct. Their drone itself is still disabled, but the killer does get notified by killer instinct. Okay, now basically what ends up happening is Skull Merchant will then move the drone from where she moved it now all the way to where the survivor is, and then she can catch the survivor because of the fact that she moved it. That's basically how I want her power to work. You use your drones as stealth drones, and you move them around from point A to point B over and over again, and then from point B to point C, and you keep moving around and do really annoying, I wouldn't really annoying things, but do really weird things. This circle, as you can see, is basically the next area you can move it in. So as you can see, I have a lot of purple, so you can barely see it. But I'll make a giant circle. This giant, well, not this one, I'm making another one. This giant white circle is basically the new area now that the drone can move in because of the fact that you move from point A to point B, and now you can move from point B to anywhere in the circle. As a result, what ended up happening is we moved it from where it is now to where the survivor is, where the generator is, and we caught the survivors. And then as a result, the same thing happens. It pulses, it sees if anyone's moving in the area, it scans them, they appear on the radar. If anyone wasn't moving, it gets disabled, and survivors can disable the drone. Very simple to understand power. Move drone from point A to point B. Survivors don't move. If you don't move, don't get scanned. You don't get scanned, disable the drone. Very simple to understand power. Very good power. That's all there really is to it. I want to make it simple, but also easy to understand. But also want it to be better for survivors so they can know like how it works, and that's the reason why I decided to do it like this. The reason why it goes through walls though is because of the fact that I feel like if it didn't go through walls, Scrum Merchant would not be useful. So because of that reason, that's the reason why I decided when you first place it and whenever it comes back, it goes through walls. Next slide. Very simple. If say for example, Scrum Merchant is trying to control a drone again, but say you also have a survivor on a hook. Scrum Merchant's drones cannot move towards the hook. They can move towards the hook, but they cannot move in a certain vicinity of the hook. This way they can not be used for camping. Because again, if Scrum Merchant's not there, then that means that there's no what's it called? There's no anti-hook penalty. So because of that reason, the timer for the anti-camping thing will not actually work. So because of that reason, I want to make a precaution where survivors, well, the drone cannot move there. Now, however, another thing, this is how the twins work. You also cannot use Scroll Merchant and just park yourself basically near the hook. Instead, you also have to get out of a certain vicinity before you're allowed to use your power. Again, so you have to move out of the area and then you have to place it here. I did this as a precaution because I know a lot of people will be like, but can't she just like easily camp? No, she literally cannot. It's impossible. You cannot camp. No, but of course she can then control the drone and then move it wherever she wants in the giant purple area. That's how it should work. This is just to incentivize survivors to still go for the hooks, but not be that scared of the drones trying to kill you. Of course, the drones can still hurt you, even though it can't go inside the area where the hook is, but it can still hurt you. But I'll explain how it hurts you in the next slide. And this is the most important part, and this is how she becomes more of a fun killer. The fighter gets in the play as, where it's more geared towards actually using your skill to hit survivors. So first, let's talk about how drones work. Scrum Merchant can control a drone, and when she controls a drone, it does a lot of things. Scrum Merchant can control her drone from a safe distance, and when it is controlled, she can fly the drone through windows, just like how Dracula can literally fly through windows. It's the same exact thing. Same exact thing. Scrum Merchant can literally use her drone to fly through windows. However, if a survivor builds a pallet, like I said earlier, on a drone, the drone will automatically get broken, and the pallet will also get broken automatically. But you also can fly your drones through down pallets. So if a pallet is down, just like how Dracula can use his bat form and fly through windows and fly through pallets, the same that thing applies to Scrum Merchant drones. You can fly through windows and fly through down pallets. But let's talk about how disabled drones work real quick because I haven't mentioned it yet. Survivors can disable a drone by just doing the drone minigame. Before I mention this though, I will have to talk about one thing that bugged me. I mentioned it in the last video about how basically behavior wanted to reward survivors for disabling drones, and I'm like, no. This is how survivors should get rewarded for disabling drones. They don't. That's the reward. You disable a drone, it can't be used by Scrum Merchant at all. That's how the drone works. Can't be used, can't be toggled, it's just there. She can get rid of it and replace it later in the future, but it can't be used. That's how it works. It'll be disabled for 45 seconds like it normally is, and that's basically it. Survivors cannot disable a drone the second it is placed, because some reason why they can do that now, that's dumb. They cannot do that. They have to wait a total of, let's say, 10 seconds, let's say like 6 seconds, before they can immediately disable a drone. That's how it works. They cannot disable a drone just because the Storm Merchant placed it. That is really dumb. Storm Merchant has to be able to use her power in some sort of way. Also, this is because of the fact that Storm Merchant can't even use it immediately anyway, because she has to be out of range, as you can see by the picture. So because of that reason, it makes more sense for Storm Merchant to only be able to use it in certain times. And also, it makes sense that survivors can't disable a drone immediately. When a drone gets re-enabled, though, it does go back to the way it was. Basically, it will get re-enabled. It will scan any survivors that are moving in the area, even through walls, and then after that happens, it will go back to just being a normal drone. This is how Skull Merchant hurts survivors. Very simple. Skull Merchant is I didn't mean to do that. Let's fix that. Sorry, my bad. Skull Merchant will basically be far away from the drone. When Skull Merchant is far away from the drone, she will basically be able to toggle it and she can move it around. As you can see by the picture, I put words so you understand. It's very simple. She takes control of the drone and she can move it in the certain vicinity. The certain vicinity I'm talking about is the purple area. Of course, I didn't show it here because it's assumed this entire area is purple. But basically, she moves it. She shoots a claw trap at a survivor. If the survivor gets hit by a claw trap, they get claw trapped. They don't get injured. They just get claw trapped. However, if you miss, the survivor can go and immediately disable the drone. Just the same exact way how when you use the twins, if you miss Victor, they can just go and, of course, destroy Victor. However, if you do land the claw trap, the survivors are not allowed to disable the drone because that would be kind of dumb if you successfully land a claw trap from 18 miles away and then they just disable it. That would be dumb. So instead, they can't do that. So if you hit them, they get claw trap. If you miss, they can go disable the drone. Very simple. However, if you hit a survivor who's already claw trapped, they become injured and the claw trap stays. However, say for example they were claw trapped but you missed. Well then again, they can just go back and they can try and disable the drone. Very simple. So the counterplay is dodge the drone, dodge the claw trap, and the reward is you claw trap them and you have to hit them 3 times in order to injure them. That way it's fair. Basically, she has a long range moving drone. A drone that moves around and then can shoot a long range or a far range projectile that claw traps survivors. If the survivor was already injured and claw trapped, they become downed. Very simple. Very simple to understand power. Basically, she moves her drones around a certain area, 48 meters. It can shoot a claw trap. If the claw trap hits a survivor, they become claw trapped. If the survivor is claw trapped and healthy, they become injured and claw trapped. If the survivor is injured and claw trapped, they become downed and claw trapped. Very simple. If the survivor was already injured but wasn't claw trapped, they become claw trapped first. Then they become injured. No, then they become downed and claw trapped if they get hit again. It's a very simple to understand power. There's no deep boon involved, no haste involved, no hinder involved. If you're just in the purple area, and if you're in the purple area of the drone and you get cloud trapped and hit over and over again, you get down. The reason why the cloud trap, by the way, stays on the ground even though you're down is because of the fact that Scrum Merchant has to have the ability to down you. Now, you will be broken while you're down on the ground. This is to ensure that the other survivors can't just rescue you immediately when you're nowhere near when you're on the ground. So you'll be broken for 30 seconds, and then she has to basically get towards you. You can heal yourself, you just can't heal yourself all the way, and that's how it works. Now, in this last slide, we're going to show the last thing we're talking about. So before we talk about it, let's just do a quick recap of what the behavior wants to do with Scrum Merchant in general. So I've already fixed the drone 2.0 problem. I've already fixed the drone control problem, and I've already fixed the drone hacking problem. The only thing left to talk about is the red light, green light thing. Now, I was not expecting them to even add this. So when I read this and I talked about it in the last video, as I said, I was extremely excited because they gave me an idea that's a really good idea, that's skill based and also kind of funny. So the way they designed it basically is eventually you charge up your power and you have the ability to scan every single survivor across the map. And if a survivor is scanned, you just see their location on the map. Very simple. But the problem is survivors can just dodge this by not moving, so because of that reason, it's almost useless. And it sounds like it takes a long time to charge it, which means it's probably going to be something like Dredge Nightfall, where it's going to take a while to get it, or it's going to be something like Old Trickster when he had his Old Trickster when he was using his Showtime, whatever it's called. Then that took a long time, or maybe it's going to be something where it's like let's see another killer. Or maybe it's something completely different and it acts like the doctor and you just get it over like every 40 seconds or whatever it is. Whatever it is, it happens over a certain amount of time and it seems like it's almost useless because of the fact that the survivor literally can just stand still. But I have fixed this by showing you in this last slide. In this last picture, you can see basically the entire area is purple. This is to showcase when you're using the red light, green light thing. Now, it's called red light, green light. Well, that's the name they've given it so far. They don't have a name for it. I was gonna call it the drone dome because basically you use your drones to see the survivors. So what happens during this is very simple. Storm Merchant eventually gets her power build up, and in my opinion, it should build up faster based on how many survivors are claw trapped at the time. And once it's maxed out, you basically have the ability to use your drone as a giant surveillance thing. When this happens, every single survivor who is not moving, no, sorry, every single survivor who is moving is revealed on the radar. It's very simple. It's the exact same thing that happens with your drones, except it happens map wide. Also, what happens is every single drone that was disabled automatically is turned back on, as you can see by the brown line going towards the drone. As you can see, that's in my opinion how it should work. It's very simple. Now, because of the, but that even then that sounds still pretty weak. You basically use AOE can see every survivor, but again, if the survivor's not moving, then it's useless. So to make it fair, this is what I did. If the survivor's not moving, I cannot see them with the drone, with the drone dome attack. Very simple. However, if the survivor is moving, I can see their location on the map, and it lasts for like 15 seconds. But this is the part that makes it skill based and really interesting. If a survivor is claw trapped, they are forced. Well, first things first, their claw trap timer automatically resets. In case you don't know, claw trap timers reset every single time you get scanned by a drone. But because we're not doing hindered in this build, we're not doing a hindered thing. We're just gonna do a surveillance thing to make it so that way survivors don't have to worry about being hindered constantly. And also, we already have a way to do damage with your drones, thanks to long range claw traps, and that's more fair, and it shows more skill, and it also turns her into a trap surveillance killer, exactly as planned. Because of this reason, instead, what happens is if a survivor is claw trapped and you activate the drone dome, they automatically are forced to do the drone claw trap minigame. Because I never mentioned this, but when you have a claw trap on you, say you actually escape the chase with the score merchant. Well, the claw trap automatically goes away after 45 seconds. During this time, you are given the option to do the claw trap minigame. If you succeed the claw trap minigame, which is basically the same minigame where you do the hacking thing, you're able to get rid of the claw trap. If you fail it, the claw trap timer will automatically reset and Submerge can see your location still on the map. When you use the drone dome thing, however, instead what happens is you're forced to do the drone minigame. If you do it successfully, the nothing happens and your cloud trap timer is automatically reset anyway. If you, however, fail it, what ends up happening is you get shocked, meaning you don't get shot. Sorry, what happens is you actually give Scrum Merchant a haste buff. The reason, and it lasts for 15 seconds. No, yeah, it lasts for 15 seconds. That is what I want to do. Basically, the reward is start merging and see every single person who's not moving. Well, see every person who is moving. If they're moving, she can see their location on the map, on the radar. Very simple. However, if they're claw trapped, they're forced to stand still. The reason why I'm doing this is because of the fact that because they're forced to stand still, if you use it strategically and use it at the right time, you're allowed to basically use it during a chase. And the survivor is basically forced to either give you the haste buff and go get the window, or try and quickly do the drone attack. And because of that reason, I feel like it would be a really good way to get servers off generators. It'd be a really good way to basically just use it in chase if you need to. But because it only happens every like long period of time, like it says in this thing right here, red light, green light, it'll happen over a certain amount of time. Because of this reason, I feel like it's completely fair. Survivors who are cloud trapped get penalized for getting cloud trapped in the first place. And if they fail the minigame, then that means that you get a haste buff that lasts for 15 seconds. However, if they pass it, then nothing happens. But again, you can use it during chases, and use it during a chase, then the survivor automatically has to stand still and try and do the minigame. If they want to stand still and they think they're confident enough to be able to do the minigame, well, then that means that they will do it fast and they'll hopefully continue the chase. If they, however, fail it, then that means that you get a hate buff. Very simple. Also, during this time, she acts like the doctor for a second where she loses her radar and then she slowly moves slower, and then that's when it activates the actual thing. Because when you use the drone dome attack, it is a giant AoE sound effect that survivors can know. That way they know that they're gotta stop moving. And that's what I think should be with her power. So that's the entirety of my little weird paint power showcase thing. If you enjoyed it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, you can join the Discord server in the comments. Again, leave all the comments and tell me how you think about this. I honestly think this is perfect. I basically covered everything. She becomes a really fun killer in every single way. She can do lots of cool stuff, lots of new stuff. Everything works out as planned. I will quickly talk about the add-ons though that I want to change because I feel like if they're gonna do something like this, then just change the add-ons. It's probably gonna be that many changes to be honest. Some of them are really simple. Let's just quickly go through them and explain what I would do differently. Okay, first add-on. ID Valenti issue 1. Very simple. It says reduces the success zones of skill checks by 20%. We're going to get rid of that completely. I don't want any skill check things to do. I don't want anyone talking about 3-gen merchant or anything like that. We're getting rid of that completely. And instead what it does is it adds one more basically arrow when you do the hacking minigame. So instead of being 5 arrows you have to do one more, so it's gonna be 6. Very simple. High current upgrade, probably literally one of her worst add-ons ever. Instead, what this add-on does, instead of increasing the tracking duration of radar by plus 1 second, instead what it does is whenever a survivor appears on the radar, they stay on the radar for an additional 5 seconds. That's what it's gonna do. Very simple. It goes from being 1 to 5. Lastly, we have high power floodlight. It stays the exact same. If a survivor's claw trap, they become blinded. Very simple until the claw trap is removed. It is a very simple add-on. Because we only can claw trap survivors in certain ways, it is fair, in my opinion. And because the claw trap only can be reset from either being hit by another claw trap or from being used or using drone dome and scanning every single survivor, it is fair in my opinion. That's why I like it. The only thing I will say about it is it might be a little bit broken when I think about it when the server's down, but they're broken anyway, so it's fine. Anyway, ultrasonic speaker. This is a really good item for Scrum Merchant that she uses all the time, but because of the fact that we're attacking survivors with our drones directly by shooting at them instead of just using the scan lines, we're going to be using actual claw traps. We have to change how this works. Instead, what's going to happen is basically it reduces the successful hit of the drone by 10% instead. So basically, what that means is if you were to successfully hit a survivor with a claw trap, and then you do like the successful animation of hitting a survivor with a claw trap, instead of you waiting like I don't know 2 seconds, it's now going to be 1.8 seconds, which reduces the time by a little bit, which is still a long time, but it's still better than nothing. Adaptive lighting does the exact same thing. It will increase the duration of untetherable by 20%, but it will also have an additional effect where basically we know whenever we use our drone from a far distance and we basically become the drone, we become unintettable. What's going to happen is it's going to increase our normal unintettable from placing a drone by 20%, but it's also going to increase our unintettable after leaving using a drone by 20%. So basically, we're going to be unintettable for 8 seconds after we place a drone, and we're going to be unintettable for, let's say, 4 seconds after being out of a drone. Very simple. Lastly, low power mode. Low power mode is this be changed. Basically, what it's gonna do instead is gonna basically make it so that way the drones automatically cannot go into the hunt mode. You can't control the drone at all. They don't have power. You can't control them, but you get 4 times the meta bug points from using your drones. Shotgun speakers is gonna be the same thing as Ade Valenti issue 1. Instead of it being however, 5 arrows you have to do, you now have to do 2 more, so 7. So if you have both shotgun speakers plus the Valenti issue, you have to do 8 arrows for every minigame instead of 5, which is kind of cool. Serial remote might go at the exact same, but I'm gonna buff it and make it so that way it's gonna be disabled drones come back actually 25% faster. We'll have 75% faster instead of 85%, and supercharged same thing. Instead of being 15% battery life, it's gonna be 25%. This will increase it just a little bit to make it so that way the cloud traps last longer and make it so that way you can get drones back faster. Honestly, you don't have to buff them, but I just want to, so we're going to. Brown noise generator, same exact thing. If you're claw trapped, you can become oblivious. Very simple. Infrared upgrade. Basically, if a survivor becomes claw trap, we see their aura. Exact same thing as it does now, but instead of lasting for 4 seconds, we're gonna make it last for 6 seconds because it's already kind of useless. So yes, well actually this one's different. Basically, if a survivor gets claw trapped, if the survivor's claw trap is removed, we see them. But instead, we're gonna make it so that way, if a survivor is claw trapped and if the survivor's claw trap is removed, we see their aura for 6 seconds. That's what's gonna happen. Loose screw is very simple. If a survivor is exhausted when they have a claw trap on them, this is the exact same thing that's going to happen. But instead of it lasting forever, it's only going to last for like 8 seconds because having exhaustion last forever is kind of broken. So we're not going to have that. It's going to last for 6 seconds. I believe it's 6 seconds. That's what loose screw is going to do. Next, we have powder glass. Very simple. If a survivor gets injured by a claw trap, they become mango to hemorrhage. Or if a survivor had a claw trap on them and we basic attack them, they get hemorrhage and mangled. Very simple. Valve targeting processor, all this does is basically it will slightly increase the hitbox of the claw trap when we shoot it. The reason why I did that one is because of the fact that, or we can make it so that way it just shoots the claw trap faster. Yeah, the claw trap travels faster, the claw trap hitbox is bigger. I did that because the name of the actual add-on is battle targeting process, so obviously we're targeting the battles easily. Advanced move prediction, very simple. Whenever you place down your drone, instead of doing what it does now, instead it does this. Whenever you place down a drone, it automatically shows the aura of the survivors, and it does not care about line of sight. That's how it works. Very simple. It shows the aura of a survivor who enters the drone, starting radius once we place it. Geographical readout, when you place a drone, the exact thing happens that it happens now, except instead of being 20%, let's make it 30% because we can. Very simple. Again, this is a really simple little buffs we're doing. We're not really changing much. We're changing the really problematic add-ons, in my opinion. Lastly, we have prototype rotor. Not lastly, but prototype rotor. Very simple. Instead of it making our drones rotate 10% faster, instead our drones move 10% faster when we control them. Very simple. And then randomized strobes is the only add-on that we will still allow hindered to happen, but this one's gonna be kind of different. Basically, we place down a drone. The second we place down a drone, if we place down a drone and the survivor's actually in the radius of the drone, like the yellow area I showed in the picture, they become hindered for a certain amount of time. That's all it is. And nothing to do with because you still can't just place a drone, or you technically in this situation you kind of could. You could put a drone inside of an area, hinder them, and then they're just hindered for a little bit, and that's it. That's how it's gonna work. Because in my opinion, that's the only one that should have hindered ever. And also, that's the best thing I can think of to get rid of it because how random Astros works. Expired batteries will work the exact same way. So all survivors several claw traps at the beginning of the game. We can see their aura, but the claw trap, we can see their location on the map, but the claw traps do have 30% less battery life. This does not. Uh, but this will also charge our drone dome power a little faster because of the fact they're all claw trap. And like I said before, the drone dome power should charge faster based on how many survivors are claw trap. And then iridescent unplugged manuscript will act the exact same way. Literally. Okay, thank y'all so much for watching. Sorry for the really long video, but I really wanted to go in depth with what I think is the best Storm Merchant changes. I honestly, like I said before earlier, I really believe these are the best changes because she becomes a trap killer still. She doesn't lose her identity. She's more fun to play against. She has counterplay. If you dodge the drone, claw trap, then you have the ability to disable the drone constantly, and that's the counterplay. But she also isn't going to be super, super weak, so you can just disable her drone whenever you want to. She's still a unique killer and is unique to herself. Then she has a new drone dome ability. She can see everyone on the map, and it's something special if this person's claw trapped or not, which gives her even more skill expression. So, in my opinion, this is a perfect thing. I really hope behavior looks at this, and I really hope a lot of people like y'all who are watching actually agree. Of course, if you have any changes or you think it's dumb, just let me know in the comments. But I really believe this is a great addition, and this is how Scrub Merchant should be. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all in the Discord server, and I'll see y'all also in the next video. Have a nice day.